This is Mary Jo Dion, and you're listening to the West Coast tapes of the Julian Dion Podcast Comedy Hour. Shit.
Hey, everyone. This is Sean Proudlove, and you are listening to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour. Oh, fuck.
Hello, this is Jason Lamb, and you are listening to the West Coast... Sorry, Julian. Okay.
This is Aaron McGue, and you're listening to the Julian Dion... let me try that again. Julian Dion Comedy Hour Podcast.
This is Alex Big Dick Wood, and you're listening to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour.
Was that right? I got that wrong. What was it?
The Julian Dion Comedy Hour Podcast.
You know, this would be so much better if you were high. If you were high. If you were high.
Here we go. Welcome to the Julian Dion Comedy Hour Podcast. Episode 23 of the Julian Dion Comedy Hour Podcast. That's right. Oh. Here we are in a good episode we have lined up for you today. Shit, yeah, always. Thanks to everyone that came out to Say What yesterday for the Julian Dion Comedy Hour live show. It was a weird one. It's the weirdest one we've ever had, and it was like strange. The crowd was messy. It was bizarre. There was no control all night. It felt. If you've never been to Say What, there's like a weird separation. There's like a bar side. Anyway, it was loud and weird. Anyhoozle, not to dwell on the negative, but thanks if you were there. If you weren't there, be sure to come out to the next show on December 17th. It's a good one. It's the big one. It's a 2-year anniversary of the Julian Dion Comedy Hour at Say What. 2 years already. So come on out to that. Should be fun. Wednesday, December 17th. Also, another quick plug, Moncton. We're coming to you. Friday, December 19th, an evening of comedy with Jen Grant, Julian Dion. Tickets are already going fast, so be sure to go to capital.nb.ca for tickets. That's it, I think, for plugs. Email the show. Pod, P-O-D, at jdcomedyhour.com. All right. So there's that. So I sit here in Lemon Press Studios. Right now it's Thursday night. And I'm the exact opposite state that I was this morning. I woke up this morning kind of feeling depressed, actually. I get depressed seems like a heavy word, but yeah, kind of. I guess because you do this thing, you're in this comedy business, and maybe it had something to do with the fact that I was sick for the last 4 or 5 days, a week, and I really haven't been doing much. I've just been lying there. So maybe it's a little bit of an object in motion stays in motion, object in rest stays in rest theory, but because I did not want to wake up this morning. It just didn't feel like it was worth it. Actually, maybe that does sound like depression. It just felt like, because you work your ass off in this business, and for a little return for a long time. You're just sort of putting it out there and planting seeds, and you just don't know where any of it is going to lead, essentially. And I don't know, I was just lying in bed this morning, and I'm thinking, I have to put together another episode and put it out there, and it just seemed like, why? What's the point? I just wanted to. I've talked about this before, but I just want to retire sometimes from this. And because here's the thing about show business and stand-up specifically is, okay, here's an analogy for you. We've all started new jobs. You know how when you start a new job, you're sort of kind of lost and you don't know where things go and you don't know what to do with your arms and you're just sort of, you feel like you're in the way a lot and then you're shy, you're not, it takes a little bit for you to come out of your shell and find yourself, and then cut to a few weeks later, a couple months at the most, and you're just owning it and you're killing it, your job, and it's familiar and you're confident in everything you do and you're no longer lost or feel insecure. You're just doing it day in, day out. Well, the thing with comedy is you feel like that lost stage is about 8 to 10 years. I mean, you're just sort of trying to figure it out. And it's a long road, and it can be hard at times because you don't see the results, and you just plant these seeds and nothing seems to be growing and blossoming, so you're just kind of doing it, hoping eventually something will come from it. Well, so I felt like that this morning. I'm like, what's the point of anything? And tonight was invited to go to the This Hour Has 22 Years Canadian show on CBC for any people listening outside of Canada. If you're a Canadian and don't know the show, you're insane. This Hour Has 22 Minutes was celebrating 22 years, and they had a live show at the Bell Lightbox Theatre here downtown Toronto with the cast, past and present, all cast members, and it was just a really inspiring night of Canadian show business. There's the Canadian comedy, who's who of Canadian comedy was there, and I guess the who's who of CBC, people from the Dragon's Den. It was just like successful show business people just all in this room, and I felt so inspired, and because I've said this on the podcast before with several guests and in monologues, I strongly believe you can make a career for yourself in show business in Canada, And this just reaffirmed everything that I believed. It was a really inspiring night in the sense that it's like, yeah, okay, you're lost for those years and you just kind of put in the work blindly, but this was the seed blossoming. It was just the blooming of it, watching this tonight at the theater, and it just made me realize you just do it. Just keep doing it. And just keep believing in yourself. That's the thing, is you also need to create your own opportunity. Think outside the box, sure. And just do your own thing, and you can't lose sight of your vision. And it's really hard to keep focus and just keep doing it day after day. But you just got to, so if you're listening to this and no matter what your passion is, or your I guess, if you're in a creative field or not, and you have a vision for yourself and a goal, just keep doing it every day. Just don't quit, and eventually you'll be in a theater with people I don't know if that's what you're into, but the point is, no matter what your vision is, no matter what other people think of your vision, just keep doing it. Just set goals for yourself, and eventually it will pay off. It has to. Cause and effect. It really just will pay off. And if you're in show business and you're listening to this, especially you, just believe in yourself and believe in what you're doing and find your own voice, and eventually you'll get there. You will, especially on those days. I mean, I've heard as a comedian coming up, I've heard so many stories of all the great ones that at one point or another, they've all contemplating quitting. And we all do. It's because it's such a fucking tough business. It's torturous. It's just rejection after rejection, but somehow you have to dig deep and just really believe in what you're doing and know that eventually it's going to pay off. So to keep with that thread of show business at all levels and doing your own thing, let's get to my guest today. I interview comedians, I interview actors here, I interview, any creative people, interesting people. And that starts at every level. I mean, there's those people. So my guest today, Ray Zwicker, who if you're an independent comedian and have been to Absolute Comedy in Toronto or in Ottawa, more Ottawa, but also Toronto the last few years, you know this guy. He was the bar manager in Ottawa for the last 8 years and then Toronto for the last 2 years. So I kind of wanted to get the perspective of somebody on that end of the spectrum of the business. The guy slinging drinks to the talent and to the patrons, kind of the engine of the whole thing. So we had a good chat and got his perspective on things, got a couple good stories from him. And we also did a funny segment of Mariah or Yoko with Jen Grant. He's a good sport about it. You know, he's not a performer, so he was just put on the spot to sing, and he did it. It was great. And we also, a couple weeks back, recorded a segment, a prank call for a new segment. We're working on the show, and we called Ray. It was pretty funny, so we'll play that in a bit. But in the meantime, enjoy my chat with Ray Zwicker.
You and me belong, just like the flowers, laughing all day long. People, I need you loose. Sing a little song, then take a shower. Julian Dion Comedy Hour.
This episode of the Julian Dion Comedy Hour podcast, once again, brought to you, the listener, by Echo One Photography. If you're from Toronto and you're a comedian or actor or musician and looking to get some professional headshots done, well, look no further. Echo One Photography will get that done for you. Hells yeah. If you own a business in Toronto, get some professional product photography done for e-commerce or advertising purposes. Yeah, they'll do it all. Echo One Photography. Just email Eugene, EUGENE, at echo1photography.com and enter JDCH in the subject line for discounts and offers applicable to you, the listener. Oh, God, thank you so much. Okay, my guest today, he sits across from me in Lemon Press Studios, as always, and I would usually have a long intro or bio or drop in a clip of sorts, but what can I say about this guy? Crack her open, by the way. There we go.
Morning.
Morning beer. Why not? Why not? No rules here at Lemon Press Studios.
Por que no?
This guy, what can I say about him? He's a good friend of mine. He's been in the comedy business for, 8 years now?
Something like that, yeah.
About that. We met back in the day at one of the best clubs in the country, at Absolute Comedy in Ottawa, where he acted as a bar manager. And now he's returned to his roots.
Somewhat against my will.
As part of the team at Absolute Comedy in Toronto. He's a funny guy. He's not a comic, but he's on the other side of the biz, so I kind of want to get his perspective on things. Anyway, let's get right into it. Ray Vanderduke. Ray Zwicker is my guest. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. Yourself?
I'm good, thank you.
Good to hear. That was like the nicest intro anyone's ever given me.
Oh, fuck. That's how I do it here.
Makes me feel good.
So you've been in the business, like I said, 8 years. Started at Absolute Comedy. What attracted you to it? How did you fall into that?
That was actually just kind of a thing where I was sitting around unemployed, and my buddy Lunchbox calls me up one day, and he's just, "Hey, you want to make some quick cash?" Yeah, sure. He was working at Absolute at the time, and I came in and washed dishes for 8 hours.
This must have been right around the time it opened, if it was 8 years ago. How old is that guy? 10 years?
10 years.
Yeah.
It was about 6 months into them being open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about 6 or 8 months into them being open, and I washed dishes for a couple days, started being a line cook, and then wanted to go on the bar and started getting on the bar. But I think the first time I really had any interaction with the comedy itself was Fraser Young.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure it was Fraser Young headlining, and being new in the world, at one point there was a heckler going after him. He was talking about Greek people, I think, and this one chick just was chirping for some reason.
Maybe she was Greek.
She was Greek.
Oh,
she definitely was Greek. And she was chirping him for some reason, and I decided that I was going to help, because comedians need help. I just rolled my eyes and shook my head. Comedians do not need help. and I think I yelled out something like, "Have a seat, Socrates." And Fraser just tore my ass to shreds.
Oh, yeah?
He just leveled me. It was like the heckler didn't exist anymore, and it was all about this asshole that he had met who works in the kitchen.
Right.
He just fucking laced into
Did
me.
he know it was you at the time?
Oh, he knew it was me.
Yeah.
He knew it was me. He was just like, yeah, that was great. That's Ray. He works in the kitchen here. He's a good cook, just doesn't know when to shut the fuck up, do you, Ray? He just fucking goes from there.
But that's the common thing with hecklers. They all think they're helping.
Mm-hmm.
Like 9 times out of 10, that's what they think. It's like, oh, I'm going to help out, which, like you said, we don't need help when we're up there.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, you're totally helping by fucking up the flow of the show. And I'm sure there's some people listening now that are thinking, well, yeah, it does help because something funny comes out of it sometimes. but for the most part, it's just better if you don't heckle.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say 1 out of 10, it's like malicious, like a you suck or whatever, which is rare, but it has happened.
Right.
But yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's someone drunk. They think they're helping out the show. They're like, yeah, I'm part of it. I have a good buddy. Actually, the guy who called you in this, we're going to drop a new segment here. I'll introduce it in a sec. The buddy that called you, my friend Matt, he still, even though I've told him 1,000 times it doesn't help, he still legitimately believes when he heckles, he's like, yeah, I'm one of you guys. It's like, no, don't.
What I've never understood about that mentality, and it's maybe coming from the perspective of someone who's had to kick people out of shows for this, is like, why are you, who paid to be in a show, assuming that you can add to what the professional with the microphone and the spotlight on them is saying? You know what I mean? And furthermore, to the point, why are you trying to fuck with the guy with the microphone?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just so your one drunk babble is going to somehow improve this environment where everyone is there for the same reason, and that's to look at the professional with the microphone and enjoy themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then your drunk ass, yeah, you know, I've been there. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Really? Like, and a lot of the times it's either a dude trying to prove something to his date or his buddies, like just peacock feathering, or it's just drunk bitches.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to say all women are bitches. I'm saying drunk bitches are the ones that are doing
Drunk
this.
bitches are bitches.
Drunk bitches be bitches, yeah.
So I want to get some stories from you, because being on that side, working and seeing, from a sober perspective for the most part.
There were some days at Absolute.
First of all, were you a fan of comedy when you started? Because you're a funny motherfucker now. Did you develop that by being around comics and in a comedy atmosphere, or were you a fan of comedy before? When I say funny motherfucker, I mean weirdly funny. Like, people that don't get your sense of humor are often repulsed by it.
As right they should be. There's no excuse for my sense of humor. I think I come across it honestly. I was a fan of comedy. Like, I enjoyed stand-up specials and everything, like Eddie Murphy's stuff in the 80s and the Kings of Comedy and shit like that. I enjoyed it, but I was never like an aficionado. I think to your point about developing that sense of humor, I think when you're in an environment, even on the other side of this business, where you are constantly around people who are professionally funny, especially in the pro-am ranks, they're constantly in this game of one-upsmanship, and it's not something that is done intentionally. I think it just happens in that social circle. So, excuse me. So if you're hanging around these people and you can't keep up, or if you show any signs of weakness, you get eaten alive.
Right.
So, I mean, it kind of forces you to, I often say, like, people's sense of humor, usually goes in one direction or another. When you spend that much time around comedians who all have different takes on things and different senses of humor and different approaches to what they think is funny, your sense of humor starts to go in like this weird squiggly zigzag line, like off to the side somewhere. So being around that many different perspectives and that many different styles of just social interaction never mind what goes on stage. It really does force you to not only adapt, but you get a lot darker in your humor, and well, because you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Of course, you know what I mean. But like, because I mean, all the regular stuff has been broached, and all the regular stuff has been addressed, and then it's kind of like when you're just sitting around with these guys, it's well, where can we take it now?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, for example, I think there was one time with Jocko and McKeegan and a bunch of other people from the club, Lunchy and a whole bunch of us.
Rest in peace, Jocko Alston.
Rest in peace, Jocko Alston. God rest his soul. We went to go see the Expendables in the theater, and the first big moment of the movie was when Dolph Lundgren blows that guy up after yelling "warning shot." It's a theater full of dudes, and there was just this perfect moment of silence, and then Jocko completely black-eyed in a movie theater out. It was just, oh shit, oh, and we were just raking him over the coals for that all day. You know what I mean? Like, just wow, welcome to Stereotype Theater, Jocko. Thank you for that. And you know, it was just, of course, he loved that.
Yeah.
You know, but like that type of shit, I mean, you don't always get away with that in regular context, especially in Ottawa. In Toronto, there's so much of everybody, no one really gets offended by anything.
Right.
But like just that type of stuff where we immediately went racial. Like it happened inside of 10 seconds. And it was just the rest of the day. And it just branched out from there. And like all of a sudden it was like dropping N-bombs and stuff like that. Like it was just nuts. And I remember thinking that day, it was like, wow, you cannot get away with this with regular people.
Because comedians dream of having just absolutely no limits on stage. But in reality, there are some lines that you can cross. But when you're off stage with other comedians, they're virtually zero. Like, you can't cross any line. Like, I mean,
entirely
if
zero.
a comic's mom died last week, you will bring that up and joke about it somehow. Like
for sure.
Anything goes. We were talking before the podcast about situationally funny versus on stage funny, and you got to taste of both. You did a set of stand-up.
A set of stand-up?
A stand-up set. Because there's a great night in Ottawa, Monday open mics at Absolute Comedy downstairs.
Missed those shows. Those were a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. It's a great room for
Oh, my
experimenting. And when I lived in Ottawa, I did it a bunch. And Alex Wood and I...
the drug dealer.
Yeah, it's just a room where you would do stuff outside the box kind of thing. And
So
Alex
much
Wood and I, we got really high before the show. And we were trying to think of something. Alex wasn't on the show, but I'm like, just come up during my set. And we found a giant bag of oregano in the kitchen, like a huge, like
we're talking garbage bag size of oregano. I don't even know why that was there.
Yeah, like a clear garbage bag, like half full.
They use maybe a sprinkle of oregano a week. Why do they have a garbage bag full of it?
Yeah, so I was just like, I'll be on stage and I'll say something. I said something along the lines of, sorry guys, I'm a little on edge. I've been waiting for my weed dealer was supposed to show up before, and so he hasn't shown up. And then
the next episode by Dr. Dre and
Chronic
Snoop Dogg.
2001 comes on, and Alex comes up, popped collar and Ray-Bans on, and with a full bag of oregano. And then we just did this back and forth. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm bringing you your weed, man. I'm like, well, I'm doing a show. He's like, oh, sorry, I didn't notice. And I'm like, you had an intro song. And I remember Josh, who books the room, didn't want us to do anything. I'm like, Alex is going to come up during my set. He's like, no, just do your thing. I'm like, no, we're doing that.
Yeah.
We're doing this.
Well, in all fairness to Josh, and you'll never really hear me say that sentence, in all fairness to Josh, he had just taken over the booking of the show from McKeegan.
It was brand new at that point.
Yeah, and McKeegan had been all about that experimental, do whatever you want.
Right.
You know what I mean? But Josh was given a directive from certain Jason Lawrence that I want my show. I want it to be an absolute comedy show. You know, I don't want all this fucking around anymore. I just want to, do you know how to dry mop? And just do the regular show. And Jason Lawrence. And I just always felt like he should have ended every sentence with his name.
Right.
Just, yeah, I don't know. I need you to go out there and just do 6 minutes and make sure you're standing as close to the stage as possible. And Jason Lawrence, and then just like disappear. But yeah, Josh had been told that type of shenanigans was not allowed. But what was really funny about that was that Jason would never go to the Monday shows.
Right.
He did one time. And I think it really pissed him off that when it was a show that he wasn't necessarily responsible for promoting, had 80, 90 people in the downstairs showroom on a Monday night. And the majority of the crowd was not only paid, but very, very enthusiastic. And he kind of, he saw dollar signs there, and very smart business on him to kind of be like, no, I want to make this an entirely branded Absolute Comedy show. But yeah, Josh was dealing with a little bit more restrictions than McKeegan was.
And you were at that point the bartender, so it was like a familiar area, and you could you felt like home. So you did decide to do a set, and tell us a little bit about that. How did that go? And what motivated you to get up? Was it like in the moment sort of thing, or had you planned on it?
No, it was kind of in the moment. My ex and I had been up till like 5 a.m. We were still together then. We'd been up till like 5 or 6 a.m. the day before, just spouting off this ridiculous, nonsensical gibberish. But we were crying. We were laughing so hard. And then I was bartending that night, and it was a small show, only like 30 people or something. And I just thought, you know what? I've been working here for a bunch of years. I've never been on stage. I should probably see what the guys go through. So I asked the headliner and the MC if I could just get up for a couple minutes and do this. And I'm like, fuck, it's about time, Ray. So I get up there, and the first thing, because I'm the only one working that night, right?
Right.
So the first thing that happens when I get up is some guy yells, "Hey, can I get a beer?" And I wait, and it gets a laugh, and so I wait for the laughter to subside, and I just very quietly into the microphone go, "Congratulations, you've just peaked in life." And the guy just he looked like I kicked his puppy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like just total devastation. And then I just went on for the next, like I did this ridiculous campaign speech. It was like I don't even remember what a lot of it was.
I would pay like $7 to see that tape right now. I'd love to see that.
Korn recorded it. There is a tape somewhere. Taped. It's on his phone somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was talking about being on a roller coaster, getting a lobotomy, and so like it was just nonsense.
Right.
But then I went on this campaign speech about running for the office of Mr. T. And yeah,
some niche shit.
Yeah, just some nonsense, like total nonsense. But
were you? Did you gain more respect for the craft at that point?
I respect the craft unbelievably as it was, and yeah, I did gain a new appreciation for it because you're up there and those lights are in your face, and all you have is like that first row of people basically, and like the sound to let you know how you're doing, to feel out the crowd. It's very disorienting actually, because when I was up there again, it was a small room, but I couldn't see them. I could only see like the first 5 or 6 people in the front row. So just to kind of read a room and gauge a crowd, I mean, like you can't see their body language, you can't see their facial expression, so you only have that sound. So when you hit something that you think is good, and there's that terrifying like half a second before people either catch on or maybe it's not working or what have you. It was very, very nerve-wracking, because again, like I've emceed a couple of weddings, and when you're up there, you can see everybody and you can kind of see where the comfort level is, and you can work with that. But up there is like you're working blind,
right?
So yeah, I gained a hell of a lot of appreciation for exactly what goes into putting together not only. I mean, I was up there for 3 minutes, and it felt like like 6 hours. I can't imagine someone going up there for like 20 minutes, especially if something isn't hitting the way you want it to, and you got to kind of bring that back. Well, not having that immediate, visual perception of what the crowd is reacting to and what they're not, and you can always tell by people's body language, and the way they're carrying themselves, if they're enjoying what's going on. If you don't have that, I guess you just got to soldier forward. I mean, that's more of a question for you, but
you do have to soldier through it. That takes time to that skill takes time to develop, and by that I mean like you cannot let it affect you, or if it does affect you, you can't show any signs of it affecting you.
Right.
Because you'll get the read off the audience pretty early on in a set, like within the first like seconds, minutes, you can tell, oh shit. And early on in your career, that affects you, and you go down, your shoulders go down, you start dropping tags, you start trimming the fat off jokes, you start, and once you trim tags and drop punchlines and plow through, you can't, when you run out of time, you can't go back to those. It's just like they're gone. So yeah, that's...
Well, a callback can only work if the call's been made originally, yeah.
Right, and so the skill to develop is to find one person in the audience that is enjoying it and do it for that person, or one table or a couple people, just like focus on that. And if you don't even have that, just go to a happy place in your brain. Imagine there's 500 adoring fans of the audience and just do it. And what ends up happening, eventually they come around and catch up to you. But it's when you let it affect you, you're fucked. There's no coming back from that. And
well, one thing that's always really bothered me, just from my perspective, is when a comic will drop a punchline or a tag, or even like a setup or just a throwaway or something like that, and it doesn't land, and they're like, fuck you, that's funny.
Right.
Like, well, they're not laughing.
Right,
what you're depending on now is the fuck you, that's funny. Sorry, not everybody can be Johnny Carson. You look at old tapes of Johnny, and
yeah, that's funny. I don't care what you say or whatever. Yeah.
No, exactly. And it would just be like the look too, and that's something he perfected. But I find I've seen a lot of people, especially like in the pro-am ranks. I'm not saying pro-am is like a derogatory term. I'm just saying that's the level that a lot of these guys are at. I've seen a lot of them do that and rely on it.
Some people rely on it so much that they just write it in their act.
Yeah.
Like as part of this bit. Instead of trying to write a better punchline, that's just the punchline now for that bit.
Right.
Yeah, that's frustrating to watch. Another thing that's frustrating to watch for me is when a comedian writes in a purposeful mistake. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
like
yes.
They may have done it once on stage before, and then they just keep doing it. They'll trip up on their words, and they'll say like a Freudian slip or something, and then they're like, "That's," they'll repeat it like, "That's not what I meant," and it's like the crowd gets a laugh.
Yeah.
And they do that every time. It's so phony. I can't stand that shit.
Yeah.
But having been in the business for as long as you have, give me some good shit. Give me some juicy stuff. You must have some stories of either from comics or audience members, like comics getting so drunk or fucked up on stage, or anybody puking on stage.
Yeah, there's a thing there.
Or audience members coming up on stage, or any of that good stuff that
okay.
Because that stuff happens rarely, but when you're in a comedy club for 8 years, every weekend, I mean, you're gonna get some of that.
Yeah, I've seen my fair share. Wow, way to lob that one at me.
Were you there for that night?
Yeah, no shit. Are you kidding me? The puking incident.
Let's get into that.
Okay. Should I name him? Should I call him?
Yeah, of course. Alex Wood. He was guest, I think, episode 11, maybe. Look back. Let me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was episode 11. Alex Wood.
Okay.
Who's from Ottawa, and
he's from Ottawa, currently in Toronto.
Yeah.
Good buddy. Him and I have enjoyed many wrestling pay-per-views together.
We talked a lot of wrestling for the first bit of the podcast. It was episode 10, Alex Wood.
Alex Wood, go back and listen to episode 10.
It was actually a really good one. It's got good numbers. It's a really funny one.
Oh, he's hysterical. I love Woodsy. But yeah, did you guys discuss the incident on that interview?
No, because I didn't think about it. I forgot because
oh my God, I'm so happy it's me that gets to tell the story then. Okay, so Woodsy's emceeing. This is on a Wednesday. So if you know anything about Pro-Am nights, is the MC is up and down about 6-7 times throughout the night?
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, okay. So during his 10-minute opener, in the first 2 minutes. Now, according to Woodsy, he had chugged 2 coffees and then drank a beer and then had another coffee and another beer. So he's up there and he's going into his stuff and he's about to start riffing. And all of a sudden he hesitates for a second, tries to speak again, hesitates, grabs his pint glass, starts puking into it on stage.
Ugh, just gross liquid.
Just so gross. And he puts it down and he goes, okay, so anyway, nope. It just goes right back to puking. So when he finishes, and the crowd is just lapping it up. Well, not literally, but like they are loving this, right? It's like, oh God, but they're laughing so hard. He's just, oh, okay, so your first act, he introduces the guy. But this is in the first 10 minutes.
Right.
So he's got to come back up there another 6-7 times throughout the night. So the first time he goes back up, I can't remember if it was me or Joe or someone brought up one of those like Corona buckets,
right,
and just left it on the stool next to him, and he didn't notice that we had done that, but the crowd did, and he was kind of just riffing and about to intro the next guy, and then he looks back and sees the bucket, and he's like, "Son of a bitch!" And he introduces the next guy, and then we convince him to. No, it was his idea. He puts on, the next time he goes up, he puts on a garbage bag with arm and head holes. And he gets up there, but never acknowledges the garbage bag.
Right.
And so just like throughout the rest of the night, it was all stuff like that. And he was such a professional about it, though.
Yeah, he kept going the whole time.
He kept going. Like I gained a whole, that to me was the moment like Alex Wood became a professional.
Right. Because
that's so disastrous. You know what I mean? Like that, besides shitting yourself on stage, what could have been worse than that, really?
Mm.
No, I'm asking. Like, what could have been worse than
nothing.
that?
That's shitting yourself, like you said.
Yeah.
And Absolute Comedy has these comment cards, and there's one, it's probably still up in the office, where someone drew a caricature of him puking on stage after. That was great.
But that became the stuff of absolute legend.
Right.
No, like, I'm not trying to make a pun, but like it has become legendary, that story.
Right.
Another good one is the time. Well, it depends whose version of the story you listen to. Now I need to say this: Jason Lawrence, brilliant promoter, absolutely brilliant promoter, knows how to put together a comedy show like nobody else. The guy, he understands not only the business, obviously, because he owns one, but he really understands how a crowd should be spread out. He understands
he gets because to make
every
a
nuance.
Perfect comedy show requires so many little ingredients that are overlooked consistently when you go just across the country. Any club, any venue that puts on comedy, you're gonna miss those things. He hits every one of them right on the mark, like right down to like check spots. Like usually when the headliner's on, the last 10 minutes. Most clubs will start dropping checks, and it distracts the audience and start doing math.
Never allowed.
Absolute Comedy, they don't allow that. As soon as the headliner says thank you, good night, and the MC goes up, that's when the army of servers go out. But little things like that matter. Yeah, he is brilliant on that.
Absolutely. But the guy's an idiot. Because love you, Jay. This guy I have seen be responsible for so many just wacky out there, how the hell did this happen situations in that club. My favorite of them had to be with this guy, and I might get fired for this, but this guy who was just drunk and rowdy throughout the whole show. This is around Christmas time. And we kick him out. And the guy's like, I want to see the owner. I want to see the owner. And Jay's standing right there. Like, I'm the owner. You know, like, oh, what's the problem? You got kicked out. You deserve to be kicked out. Yeah, and Jason Lawrence. And so we're kicking the guy out. And he keeps yelling back at Jay. And you know Jay, he's got a little bit of a combative side to him. So he's going down the stairs. This is in Ottawa. Chirping the guy too.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy's about a step behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is the guy shoves him a little, and Jay trips over a couple of stairs. Doesn't face plant or anything, but just stumbles, lands on his feet. And then Buddy takes a big wild swing with his foot and catches Jay on the ear. You've never heard this story?
I've never heard this story.
Oh my God, this is fantastic. So we all immediately just, you know, we're on top of this guy, and we pick him out, and Joe and I kind of use his head to open the door, and we get him outside, and Joe and I have him, you know, pinned on the ground. We're not hurting the guy, but you know, the guy's still flailing and trying to swing and everything. And Sarah, the server, once we kind of get this guy calmed down, Sarah, the server, comes out with a credit card machine and his credit card and makes him pay his bill while he's pinned on the ground.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, an ambulance is called, and Jason, you know, his ear's bleeding, and anyway, it's just a clusterfuck. The guy leaves, and you know, he calls back the next day and apologizes, and yada yada. You know, water under the bridge. A week later, you hear Jason telling this story. According to Jay, this guy threw him down a flight of stairs and then pounced on him and started attacking. And he single-handedly fought him off until the rest of us finally got there to just basically escort him out at that point, because, you know, at that point Jay had just lambasted this guy to the point. There was nothing left to drag out. I mean, like, it was just by the scruff of his collar, and we just dragged him out and left him out in the snow to fend for himself. You know what I mean? But listening to Jay tell this story is the greatest thing you'll ever hear, because it's like, yeah, no. The guy, I mean, like, I was being perfectly reasonable with him. I was like, right off the bat, you're like, no, you weren't. And he was like, hey, and he threw me down a flight of stairs, and then he kicked me in the face, and then I jumped on him and just started pounding him. Meanwhile, Jay did at one point fight back, and it was adorable. it was very, very cute. But yeah, just the embellishment. You know, by the end of the story, you'll think, you know, he used his superpowers to grow 9 feet tall and just zap this guy with his laser vision. You know what I mean? Like, just complete and utter ridiculousness. But one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life, because I'm standing 3 feet away from this, and it was like watching two girls fight on a schoolyard. It's just like a whole lot of, you know, that like hand slapping and stuff. It was so funny.
You're a good-looking guy. You're a confident guy. You're cocky. You do well with the ladies, and I kind of took advantage of that one day, because I'm constantly looking for new segments for the show, and there's one. My friend Matt has this great ability to prank people, prank phone calls. He's amazing at character voices. He's
Very
amazing
much
at
so.
improvising on the spot, and all you need to do is give him a couple like key information, a couple things about the person,
key points,
and he just goes off. So I'm like, okay, call my buddy Ray. I'm like, he works at a bar. He's extremely cocky, and
I have no idea why everyone assumes just because I'm great, I'm cocky.
Yeah, there you go. And so he's like, oh, perfect, I got it. He's like, I'll pretend I am a gay man that has been going to the restaurant, admiring this guy, and we got the GM's name of the restaurant or bar he worked at. And so the premise of the phone call is my buddy Matt goes in, has been going into this restaurant for a month, admiring Ray, thinking for sure he's gay, and finally convinced and coerced the GM to give my friend Matt Ray's phone number. And so we call Ray one day, and this is the phone call. Let's drop it in right now.
Are we starting from the beginning?
Yeah, we're starting from the beginning. So this is...
I haven't heard this yet.
So this is my phone call or my friend Matt calling Ray, proposing they go out on a date because he's mistakenly taken Ray for a gay man.
I was in Muskoka at a cottage, just ripped at this point.
Yeah,
keep that in mind.
And it's not even late. It's like, I think...
oh, no, this was at like noon.
Yeah, it's in the afternoon. All right, here we go.
Is it recording?
Hello?
Hey, Ray.
Hey, who's this?
Is this Ray? Hey, it's Michael.
Sorry?
It's Michael. How are you?
Michael?
Yeah, it's Michael Munich. How are you? Sorry to bother you. Are you busy? Are you working?
I'm at a cottage.
Oh gosh. Sorry. Are you enjoying yourself out there?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. No, I'm really sorry to call you. So, I got your number from Paris. I had to convince her for the past little while to get your number, but I kind of went in to the cantina again to see you. You're not there anymore. Did you get a new job or something?
Yeah, I'm not there anymore.
Oh my gosh, it's been a while. The reason why I'm calling you actually is just to see if you're single. Are you dating anyone right now?
Oh, are you? Yeah, no, this is a little awkward. I'm actually not into guys.
Oh my gosh, really? Okay. Sorry, it's been taking me so long. I've been, I'm always.
Oh yeah,
there.
no.
Do you remember?
Don't worry about this at all. I take it as a compliment.
Oh, okay.
I think this sums up your personality. It's like, no, I take that as a compliment. Oh, someone else thinks I'm awesomely handsome. Yeah, no, don't worry about it.
What can I say? Gay dudes have good taste.
I'm sorry. So it's taken me so long to even get Paris to give me your number, but it's taking me about a month, to kind of muster up what I wanted to say to you. I had no idea. I kind of thought you were kind of gay as well. Like.
Yeah, no worries, man. It's actually happened a couple times. It's not really my bag, but I really do take it as a compliment. And I appreciate it, man.
Bag too. So that's fine. I feel kind of awkward calling you and stuff, and it's been sitting on my shoulders for a long time. But would you be open to fuck?
No, not really my thing.
Is that your definition of a date?
By the way, this this is how awesome. Like at this point, you don't think it's a joke whatsoever, right?
No, I don't.
This is what's great about it is you're so caught up in the fact that this guy is enamored by you. You're just like, yeah, no, that's fine. No, I won't fuck, but I appreciate you thinking him.
Well, I'm also trying to spare this poor guy's feelings.
That's the thing that came across in the whole thing. You're being like really nice to the guy. Anyway, let's listen to a little more.
But again, I take it as a compliment.
Okay, you don't. I just would love to stretch your onion.
I should have figured it out right there.
Yeah, that's like.
But I was loaded.
Actually, you didn't. If you listened closely, you didn't hear that part because you're saying goodbye to someone on the other end.
Oh.
So you didn't hear the stretch your onion part. So you just kind of come back on the phone here.
Yeah, no, sorry, man, not my deal.
Could I suck your dick?
No. Just girls.
Okay. Well, that's kind of flattering. So,
just girls.
Could I pay you?
No, dude, not my deal at all, unfortunately. But
okay.
Hey, you're gonna do good for yourself.
You know what, man? Right, absolutely. I've been watching you for a while. Now, what if I brought my girlfriend who's super smoking hot? Would you do a three-way, and then maybe I can just watch you have sex with her?
I got to point out.
Even that is kind of not really into.
I'm not gonna sit in the corner and jerk off like a creep.
You know what I mean?
Go to the back.
You thought about the threesome.
I didn't think about the threesome, but when he said I can just watch you fuck her,
yeah,
it was like I've never done that.
At that moment, I'm like freaking out because I'm like, oh, he's thinking about.
I'm starting to think like, how hot is she?
My girlfriend who's super hot, and you just hear Ray go, This is not
kind of a one-on-one type of guy.
One-on-one.
But I mean, if you can just bang one of my friends, I can just sit there and maybe have a Timmy's coffee or something. I'm not going to be a creepy. I'm not going to be a creepy guy and sit there and just whack off
man,
like
that's
a weirdo.
really not my wheelhouse. But I appreciate the fact that you had the cojones to reach out like that. But it's not my thing.
Okay, so
cool.
Can we keep this between us? And I go into the cantina all the time.
Absolutely, man. Don't worry about it.
I had to tip, and I talked to Paris, and I'm really don't bring it up to her as well because she was really reluctant to give me your number. But I told her I know
how much fucking chutzpah it takes to just like ask a girl out under regular circumstances and to put yourself out there like you just did. I respect that kind of balls, but like I said, it's not my thing.
Balls, man. You gotta be interested.
Don't worry about it, bro. Totally good.
You said balls. You ball. Come on, let's try it. Let's try it.
I respect the hell out of the like I said, the cojones.
Would you like?
To make this phone call?
Do you want to try? Do you just want to try and maybe play with mine?
No, not my bag, bro. Okay. Not my bag.
What if I get you 12 beers like Stella's?
Sorry.
What if I just get you drunk? Would you fuck?
No, man, not my thing.
You can come on my face. I don't mind.
Yeah, no. I appreciate it, but no, not really my thing, man. Okay.
It almost sounds like he thought about the coming on the face part.
You know what? That's an offer that it really is hard to turn down, no matter who it's coming from.
How did you not know this was a joke at any point? This is what I mean about you. You're so like
so drunk.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Cottage, Muskoka, drunk, and you know what? A little flattered.
Yeah, I think that's more of it. That's you're like, oh, this guy thinks I'm obviously.
I'm also trying really hard not to, like crush this dude. You know what I mean? Like it's just
it keeps going.
Okay, well, I'm still gonna. Did you move to a different place, restaurant or something? I just love to.
I got another job in another part of the city, man.
Oh yeah. You're no longer in the okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just keep going to the cantina. But it was sad to see you leave, man, because it took me a lot of guts, and I don't want to say balls because you're not into it. But to just kind of tell you how I felt about you, and I've been watching you, and I love when you get a little stressed out at work and running all those tables and getting sweaty. It's really nice. But I just wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind stretching your onion one night. But I mean, it's not going to happen, eh?
Yeah, don't worry about it. No stress, no drama, no worries. But I appreciate it, but, not into it.
So if you went jogging in jogging pants and you kind of got sweaty down there, can I give you a Cajun dry rub? You know, it's a dry, so
Jesus. No.
Okay, so you're not gay at all, then. Okay,
have a good night, man, okay? I'm going to go back to my friends up at the cottage here, okay?
Okay, thanks, Ray. And please keep this between us. I'm really sorry I had to call you.
Yeah. No worries.
Okay,
Take care.
Big kisses. I'll see you soon.
Goodbye.
Big kisses. I'll see you soon. Is there a creepier way to end a call?
Okay, so this call ends, and what are your? Because this went on for 5 minutes and 46 seconds.
I immediately texted Paris asking her if she had given my number to someone. That's
hilarious.
Like immediately.
And were you angry? What were you feeling?
No, it was just I wasn't angry. I was just like, okay, that's a little weird. And I thought it was a little suspect because Paris, we didn't always see eye to eye, so I wasn't sure if it was something that she might have done, thinking it would have been funny. But at the same time, I also know for any differences we had, she is a pretty ethical person. Right. So I also thought like, I don't really see the circumstance wherein she would do that.
Right.
But I just kind of wanted to make sure.
We called you back after, and I have that call too.
Yeah.
We called you this time from my number, so you would see me calling, but I got my friend Matt to do the voice.
The absolute second I saw your number come up, I knew what had happened.
Michael Minikoff. Here's that phone call. That's us freaking
out. Rightfully so.
This is us calling you back.
You're Michael again, but from my number, it'll give me the.
Hello? Hey, it's Michael.
Oh my god! I just yelled at Paris. Oh my god!
Oh shit!
Oh fucking hell, dude!
That's what we call a hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. I should have known too, because he had that like whispery voice.
That was actually my buddy Matt doing it, but we were recording for the podcast. We're trying these different things. Oh, that was great. You're a nice guy, man. I realized when I hung up the phone, I'm like,
Spare his feelings.
oh my god. When I hung up, I'm like, Ray is a good guy. You're like, no hard feelings, no drama, no nothing. That's hilarious. What did you say to Paris?
I was like, did you give my number out to somebody?
Oh my god.
No, that's really weird. Fuck yeah.
I love the
That's
Arnold
amazing.
yell in the
Oh
background.
my god. You're the king.
And all right, brother. I'll talk to you. Come back to Toronto tomorrow, so I'll give you a shout.
All right, brother.
All right. Thanks, man.
Take care. You're bad.
There we go. That's a new segment we're working on for the show with my buddy Matt. It's untitled, but you were one of the victims. We just did a bunch of test phone calls. We're calling people that we know and stuff like that. So we'll be looking at that. So here you are now. You're in Toronto. You've been here a year and a half, 2 years. 2 years in February.
Coming up on 2 years, yeah.
How are you finding the city?
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
You're back at Absolute Comedy.
I am.
You went through a breakup.
I did.
When I saw you, it was random.
Oh wow, we're doing some Barbara Walters shit here. Okay, all right.
When I saw you, you were tore up. You were like fucked up.
After when I came into Cantina that first day.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what happened that day was the breakup had been like 3 days beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
And leading up to moving to Toronto, like everything was just lining up. I've been wanting to move here for a long time. And then when I finally did, like everything had just lined up, timing, finances, everything. It was like the universe was telling me, okay, go.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started dating a girl who lived here. And we were doing the back and forth visiting thing, and it was like the universe was saying, like, okay, you got the money, you get the timing is perfect. And what if we throw in a super hot 22-year-old who's like really into the weird stuff in the sack? And it's like, will you go then? Like, yes.
You're into young women.
I don't really put a limit on it, but I find. I do enjoy the early 20s set.
You're what, 32? 3?
32.
32.
32.
And the youngest you've been with was 19?
Yeah, thanks for that.
Hey, fuck. It's your shit. I'm just exposing
I'm like
it.
it's my shit that you're exposing. I'm sure to the listeners, like to half of them, I'm a fucking creep, and half of them, I'm a hero now. So,
right.
Yeah.
What's
okay, where are you going with this?
I don't know, actually. What's so... I don't know. What is so appealing about young women? Because you can't really carry a conversation with a 19-year-old, can you?
Some of them.
Yeah?
Some of them. A lot of them are...
So you justify it by them being mature 19-year-olds?
No, not really. I enjoy they still have that...
New car smell.
As Mike Dambert would call it, birthday cake. But no, I enjoy the fact that there's very little like adult drama, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they're not adults yet.
Okay, we're getting into some Bill Cosby shit here. No, you know what I mean though? It's like the drama for them is all like social stuff,
yeah.
And
right.
And there's not a whole lot of like big life stuff, you know, like there's not worrying about mortgages or where the career is going, or you know.
Yeah, I get that. It's sort of just escaping real life, and
yeah, you know, it's like seeing a really really good movie, and just enjoying it because it's fun,
right?
And that, you know, like it. People ask me a lot. It's like why do I enjoy the younger set? It just word association, you know, fun. because, not that there's anything whatsoever wrong with women my age or older. I've run the gamut, but I don't know. I just find the younger set, they're a little more experimental, a little more. They just don't have a whole lot of hang-ups about much.
Right.
And I'm not just talking sexually. I'm just talking, like socially and stuff. It's kind of like what do you feel like doing tonight? Whatever. I'm like, oh, well, there's this underwater whiskey bar I know of. It's like, oh, cool. Yeah, let's do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas when you get a little older, and I'm the same way. It's like we have things that we definitely don't like, and we have things that we definitely do like, and we kind of get in our ways, and it's fun to kind of go back and I guess almost kind of age in reverse that way, and just be open to pretty much anything that's happening. Anything that's going down. It's like, yeah, cool, I'm in. No problem. So, and I mean, a lot of my friends through the restaurant and everything are much younger than I am, and
yeah, I get that. It's just sort of like going back in time. We're to a carefree place.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And I think that's a big part of the appeal is just that you nail right on the head. Just completely carefree, easygoing, good times, no fucking worries about like the adult things in life that kind of creep up on you out of nowhere, and you're just like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this. You know what I mean? Like, I want to go back to that.
Right.
And
you do. And you do. Let's well, let me do this thing. We're gonna do a segment now with Jen Grant. Okay, folks, it's time now for another installment of Are You Mariah or Yoko?
And now, Julian Dion presents Are You Mariah or Yoko? Where we find out from each of your celebrity guests, is it vocal range or vocal strain?
Okay, we're here now once again with Jen Grant.
Hello.
Okay, so explain to Ray and the listeners once again in a concise, quick way, the segment.
Okay, so when you're listening to your music and you've got your earphones on,
into the mic, please,
and you're loving the song like it's one of your favorites, and you're singing along to it. You're by yourself, and you think you sound awesome. We all do that by yourself, in the car, in your apartment, in the shower, whatever. But shower, you don't have your earbuds in. But you know what I'm saying. So you're really giving it and you think, oh my God, I'm so good. But really you're listening back to what the recording is. That's why you think it sounds good. So exactly. I want to put this to the test. And we're going to sing a song, you and I. I'll do a version, you'll do it. Oh, no. We'll crank up the volume and we'll see who sounds the best. No, it's the best. It's really fun. And enthusiasm counts for a lot.
I love this because Ray is always such in control of his like other people's perception of him. so this
am I?
Sort of. I feel like you are. You're well put together. So I feel like this is a just let go.
Total exercise in humility.
Yeah.
Okay. Am I going first or are you going first?
It's your call.
Well, you get to choose because you're the guest. And remember that you don't have to be a good singer for this. We're having fun with it, and you get to sell it like as if you're doing this by yourself. And you can decide whether I go first or you go first. You also get to decide on the song. So think of a song you really like. We'll get the lyrics for you, so don't worry about it. So just take a second, but usually your first impulse. And this is all just fun. Come on.
Yeah. Okay. Faith by Limp Bizkit.
So do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Okay, so we chose a song. Ray chose a song. We're gonna do "Gotta Have Faith," the Limp Bizkit version. Everybody, welcome to 2001. So who would you like to go first?
I think it'd be selfish of me to make you go first, so I'll go first.
In a Julian Dion comedy hour, are you Mariah or Yoko first? Ray chooses to go first.
This is the first time that the guest is going first.
into the microphone. We keep forgetting that for some reason.
Alrighty.
This is radio.
Popping that cherry.
Okay, so when you're ready, the floor is yours. Ray, Limp Bizkit, you gotta have faith.
I am so sorry. Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body like me, but I gotta think twice before I give my heart away. And I know all the games you play, 'cause I play them too. Oh, but I need some time off from that emotion. Time to pick my heart up off the floor. When that love comes down without devotion. Well, it takes a strong man, baby, but I'm showing you that door. Well, I gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. Gotta have faith. Gotta have faith, baby. I know you're asking me to stay.
That's Ray Zwicker. Clap it.
So sorry. I need another beer after that.
That was great. I love the chorus
Oh my
because
God, that was awesome.
that's when you really distinguish from the George Michael version to the Limp Bizkit version.
Yeah, I didn't know it was actually the George Michael version. I didn't understand what was happening. I thought it was a completely different song.
No, you get it, but you got the song right.
Oh yeah, I know this one well.
Okay, when you're ready.
So I guess I'll try to sing it like the way that he's singing it.
Yeah.
I'll do my best.
Okay, so that was Ray.
That was good, Ray.
That was actually
surprisingly good. So
yeah,
I'm gonna try hard.
It actually
right now.
sounded good.
And I'm gonna try to sound
Again,
like Limp Bizkit.
the
I don't know what they sound like.
The
but
chorus is when the Limp Bizkit stylings come into play versus George Michael's.
I'm gonna try, guys.
Okay, peaking those levels. Okay, Jen Grant, Limp Bizkit, you gotta have faith.
Well, I guess it would be nice if I could touch your body. I know not everybody has got a body like me. Now I gotta think twice before my heart away. And I know all the games you play, 'cause I play them too. Oh, I need some time off from that emotion. Time to pick my heart up off the floor. My love comes down without devotion. I guess a strong man, baby, but I'm showing you that door. Gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. You gotta have faith. Faith, baby.
I think we broke the microphones. I think, holy shit, I think the microphones, I have to return them. That was amazing. How did that feel?
My eardrums hurt.
Wow.
Okay, I don't know what to do with this one. I don't know what to do with this one. That's a tough one.
That was. Can we hear that back? Oh, after. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll play it after. Holy shit, how do we do that?
I have a headache, if that counts.
Oh, I didn't hear that at all.
I didn't before I smacked my head on the beam. But
Did
now
you
I do
smack it on the beam?
It was bound to happen.
It was bound to happen.
I'm 6'1", and these ceilings are like 5'4".
Okay, that was tough because Ray sounded good.
What?
Jen also sounded good. She had maybe a little more enthusiasm. She went nuts.
She did. It was out of your wheelhouse. It was out of your wheelhouse.
I'm gonna have to,
zone.
by a slim margin, I'm gonna have to give this one to Jen Grant.
I agree.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
That's a compliment, because you were good, Ray.
Yeah, you were good. Okay, so that was another installment. What just happened? I missed it. That was another installment of Are You Mariah or Yoko? Okay, so Ray, that's pretty much it. We've run out of time.
Oh, no squirting?
No squirting.
Squirting.
I'll get you back in here to talk about squirting. He somehow decoded the female genome to make every woman squirt, which I'm sure everyone out there is dying to know about.
Yeah, wow. No, that's not what happened, but okay.
So
Okay,
anyway,
it's a little bit what happened.
thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, man.
For
This was a blast.
Regaling us with tales of being on the other side of the comedy business. We appreciate it. Anything you want to add?
Check out Julian's show every other Wednesday at Say What.
Thank you. Yeah. What about your Instagram? Right
Oh, yeah, my Instagram's pretty fun. At RayLZ3.
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 All right, man. Thanks a lot, and watch your head.
Yeah.
And there it is, episode 23, over and done with, cover to cover. Thanks to my guest, Ray Zwicker, for hanging in there and being a good sport. And thanks to you for listening, always. I appreciate it. Once again, email the show pod@jdcomedyhour.com. A little all over the map here. Thanks to my producer, Adam Fox, Foxy Cleopatra, and my sound engineer, Miles Lacroix. And follow on Instagram and Twitter at JD Comedy Hour. And Facebook.com/JD Comedy Hour. New episodes coming at you every Tuesday and Wednesday from Lemon Press Studios in the Distillery District, downtown Toronto. Thanks for listening, and watch your head.
It's just a waste of time.
Yeah, actually, really nice guy. Really nice guy. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, let's check levels. Check 1, 2, 1, 2.
Sam.
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 Soon it well. Okay, how are your cans? Your headphones?
They're good. They were
Loud?
too loud before, but now they're good.
Oh, here, you can adjust this, by the way.
Oh,
This
Jesus, tap dancing, Christ.
You can, oh yeah, whoops.
You prick.
I just tried it on my own. Holy fuck, yeah, that's loud.
Yeah, that got really fucking loud.
Hey everybody, hey everybody, hey everybody. Ha,
Everybody.
Yeah.
Rock your body.
Yeah.